Hi. It's been 13.5 years. Can you believe it? Since Keysight released the 2000 and 3000X series scopes over here. Yes, it's been that long. I was still in the garage lab back when the original released its magic smoke and everyone had a good laugh on its launch day. But of course, that was just a minor hiccup, and the 2000 and 3000 went on to become like an industry groundbreaking product with the MegaZoom V ASIC in there. 1 million waveform updates per second. Hasn't been beat since, except for the new, recently, the new Rohde & Schwarz MXO4 series. But today, ta-da! Released, like, I think tomorrow as I'm shooting this, or maybe the next day, depending on this flat earth we've got. This is the new HD3 series. Yes, it contains the new MegaZoom 5 ASIC. None of that MegaZoom 4 rubbish anymore, MegaZoom 5. Even though this is the new MegaZoom 5 ASIC in the HD3 series, it doesn't actually replace the existing 3000X series. You can still buy that. So yeah, this one's a tad more expensive than the 3000X series, but MegaZoom 5. So let's do an unboxing and first impressions video. Sorry, I have to do a separate teardown video later because the nerds on the forum desperately want me to do measurements on this thing as soon as I got it. So here we go. I'm not sure what's more exciting, the new HD3 Oscilloscope or the fact that it came from the Garden of the Gods Road in Colorado Springs. Great name. Keysight even provided a lovely carry bag. Look at that. I don't think it ordinarily comes with it, although for the price, I reckon they should throw one in. I'm sure if you talk to your Keysight sales rep, they'd probably toss one in for you at this sort of price level. So this is the HD3 MXO is the particular model number. Starts from 200 megahertz and it goes up to 1 gig. And the big deal about this one is that it is none of that 12-bit rubbish. This is 14 bits. Yes, Keysight have upped the game to 14 bits. Oh, look at that. Can't smell it. And here it is compared to the old little beastie. It's taller and it's looks like not as wide. So they're obviously prioritizing bench space on this. So gone are your four like horizontal, vertical, independent vertical controls, and now you've got the just the single vertical control. But you save on your footprint. As a lot of manufacturers are doing, they're trading off that vertical convenience for smaller bench footprint. And you're either going to like that or you're not. But Keysight aren't alone in this. But here it is. Look at this. Ooh, it's got a dirty screen on it. I think somebody's put that back. So let's peel that off for you film aficionados. Oh, look at that. It's like a bought one. Although I think this is like a used demo unit. Daniel Bogdanov's probably been like salivating over the thing. Anyway, oh, look at this. I don't mind the look of this at all. It's not too bad. I like the squat form factor. Actually, I don't know. Leave it in the comments. So it's a HD3 MSO. You can get the 302. It is available in a 2-channel jobby, like physical 2 channels. So it's an MSO. Of course, MSO is standard now. 1 gigahertz, so this is, they've maximized the bandwidth for me. It is only a software option. So even the 200 megahertz version has the 1 gig bandwidth front end. As you'd expect, it's a license upgrade. But there it is, 14 bits. They've leapfrogged everyone else in the industry and they've gone for a 14-bit custom in-house ADC. And it is still the InfiniVision, but it's just the new HD series. And here's the controls. You've got horizontal up the top. I personally like that. And when pictures of this thing leaked onto the EEVblog forum, no, it wasn't me. Forum users is good finding stuff. Someone complained that the horizontal shouldn't be at the top. It should be down near the vertical. I don't agree. I like the horizontal up the top. Anyway, then we've got trigger below that, so that looks all pretty standard stuff. And then we've got the markers, WaveGen, touchscreen button, nice, markers, measure, digital, protocol, decode, and then the 4 verticals like this. I really hope that they're very bright. And then we've got 2 USB 3s on the front. Nice. Then we've got the softy power button. Wonder what the standby consumption is. If you remember that from the old Garage Lab days. 50 ohm input, of course, and the Keysight active probe interface hasn't changed from the 3000 series. But interestingly, the 1 mega ohm input capacitance is 24 puff. That's actually a lot more. Usually it's like the old one is 14 puff. So I wonder if we have any compensation range issues there. But yeah, we've got our probe compensation, and if you buy the 2-channel model, you won't get those, physically won't get those extra 2 channels. But that's it. Could have added something there. Just saying, that could have been the SIGGEN output. Can't readily feel anything in there. There might be. There might be something. Is there a cutout there? I don't know, but yeah, I would have liked to have seen that utilised. And the feet, they got nice big rubber baby buggy bumpers on the back there and flip up on the front. And there's a little bit of a snap there. That's all right. Can I push it over? Nope. Nope, have to work really hard at that. My bench isn't exactly flat, so there's going to be a bit of wobble, yeah there. For you handle aficionados, it's not metal. Bit disappointed in that. That is the new, I want die-cast alloy handle, please. Come on. But it's okay. You're just not going to write home to your mum about it. And I do appreciate the 2 extra rubber baby buggy bumpers on there so that we can lie this sucker flat like that. Someone was thinking, well, they put them at the top, but the bottom slides around. The rubber does extend over, but it doesn't protrude out from there. So you put it down and it slides around the bottom like that. But it's better than nothing. But yeah, they just didn't go the whole hog there. You can see that's completely flush. Why I'm dicking around talking about these minor things on a scope like this, I don't know. So vents on the side here, not on the other side. So a gigantic fan here, like 120 millimeters or something. We'll see what the noise is like. And it's made in their plant in Malaysia. There we go. It's got option 100, D24, and O1G is the generator one, but they all come with the generator, I think. Looks like you've got a Kensington lock over there. And yes, because of the compact form factor now, the digital is on the back. But it looks like it uses the exact same probes as the existing 2000 and 3000 series. So that is awesome. And the MSO is actually included. So if you cobble together your own probes, you can probably just run it. Anyway, triggering would have been handy to have that on the front maybe, or the function gen, or both. And the auxiliary out, so you get your 10 megahertz reference out or whatever. USB, another USB 3 here. We've got Ethernet, of course, and we've got a display port there. Beautiful, but I don't think this is going to actually upscale anything. But haven't tried it yet. But they've done away with the old school Megazoom logo. I want a Megazoom 5 logo. Come on. And by the way, this is 1.3 million waveform updates per second. So they haven't gotten to the Roden-Schwarz, which is 4.5 million waveform updates per second. But this one should do it more consistently across a greater time base range and with other features turned on, because it's got the Megazoom 5 ASIC now. But it's got exactly the same goodness inside with the direct samples straight to the screen and all the other display info straight to the screen. So I actually expected better than 1.3 million waveform updates per second. I mean, it has been 13 years since they released this ASIC. And by the way, I think I did actually research this once. They had released the Megazoom, the previous Megazoom chips at an interval of, I think, around about 7 years. So this one took 13 years. We only get 1.3. Still, it's going to be pretty darn good. 1.1 watt standby? That's okay, I guess. And boot time. Let's try it. Oh, little fan whir there. And so this is my very first... Oh, I got a flashy cursor. Ooh, look at this. What's that? What's that? Is that's the Keysight logo, like, chopped off and not filled in? What? Come on. Seriously? Okay, somebody's having a bit of an artistic wank there. 25 seconds. At least we've got a bar graph. It's not linear, though. Oh, we get this again. Guess they love that. Oh, there we go. HD3 MSO version 10. 10! Not that 1.0 rubbish. Initializing command power. Let's go. Come on. 42 seconds. Let's go. Clocks and FPGA. Blah, blah, blah. Control system. Cal manager. Megazoom 5. Technology. Initializing. Yes. Yes. A minute. A whole minute. Oh, twiddle your thumbs. Come on. Come on. Come on. Minute 10. Well, oh, faded out. Nice. Whoa. Relays click in. Update firmware. So there was that. What was that? A minute 15 or something. End user license agreement. Update firmware. I hope this is only once. Don't show this again. Good. Agree. Yeah. Whatever. Oh, and we're in. We've got our channel 1 button lit up like that. Nice. 2 and 3 And 4, do all 4 channels color match over to here? Yes, my camera is color balanced. Yeah, that's not too bad. Don't mind that at all. The indicator LED for the channel that you're actually selected is just showing up there, and it matches the color there. Groovy. Oh, that's a bit dim. Oh, I don't like to, a bit brighter, please. Sorry, the screen is a little bit glary. It's not too bad. It's just for the purposes of shooting video. It's not terrific. Anyway, we're right into channel 1, so I presume we can move that around. Yep. Can we dock? Oh, no. Nope, we can't. No, we can't dock. But let's just shut that down and let's have a look what we've got here. Of course, completely different user interface before. There, of course, are no soft buttons like we had previously. So they've completely changed the user interface. I'm not sure how this compares with their latest high-end stuff, which I haven't played with. Is it similar? Leave it in the comments down below. Let's hit plus there. And quick selection. Ooh, I like that. So you can select all your different things. Oh, look at this, look at this. Okay, we can select our FFT, FFT Max, our reference waveforms. Oh, I'm liking this. And then you can globally enable your digital like this. This is great. So yeah, if we enable the digital like that, that just comes like, this is a stacked layout. And then we can tile waveforms horizontally like that. And we can overlay waveforms. Whoa, oh yes. So one big overlay, or we can do a custom layout as well. Yeah, it looks like we can drag things around. Let's just go to tile horizontally like that. Okay, so we get rid of that. Bingo, we've got channels 2, channel 3, FFT, our reference, and our digital channels. We don't want digital, let's switch that off. That puts on one of the math channels there, but the reference, I guess we can choose which ones we want. By the way, this is a slower sample rate than the old 3000T. It's only 3.2 gig samples per second max as opposed to 5 gig samples per second max, but that won't halve when you turn on the multiple channels. So I've got all 4 channels turned on, still 3.2 gig samples a second. So at any time, we can just highlight like that, horizontal waveform zoom, waveform, add zone trigger, must intersect. So we didn't have to turn on zone trigger and you just drag it like that. That's nice. We can do histogram based on that. Place X markers here, add annotation. Whoa. Up in the top right corner here, you can see we're currently in that selection mode, but you can also go to, looks like move mode. So, oh yeah, okay. So that's horizontal move. You'll notice that the FFT updating is slowing when I move things. It's still not, yeah, we can almost completely stop that FFT while we're moving stuff, but that's not unexpected. Or presumably any other processing just by moving, shifting our waveform around. Can we, yeah, we stop it there as well. So I'm not liking that, the fact that I'm moving the 4th channel here and that's stopping my FFT on channel 1. Or can I have some priority, please? And it's interesting how they've got like no split, like horizontal, showing you that the window's split. I mean, it obviously is, but I don't know, leave it in the comments. What do you think about like not having like just lines splitting up the windows? They're all kind of like merged together kind of thing. Now, it's not immediately obvious how to change my FFT. That changes the offset, but how do I get in there, twiddle my knobs? Oh, what is this? A magic menu? There you go, FFT. Okay, so we can get in there and now we can do that. Oh, with FFT mode on, I would have liked to have seen like some button on the side to pop up that. Analysis precision. Okay, so FFT will go up to 16 meg points there. That's not too shabby, is it? Let's turn that on. And yeah, as you'd expect, it's updating a tad slower there. That is 16 million point FFT though. We've got a bell icon here. What is that? That's our message log. Anyway, how responsive is it here? Whoa, whoa. I'm not liking that. I'm turning that until the cows come home. Is that because we've got the 16 meg point FFT? But that is slow. And that's missing. It's like, it's missing bits. Is that the FF? This is the first time I've tried to move a channel. I'm twiddling my knob, and my knob ain't working. Don't you hate a busted knob? Well, I can, but it looks like if you try and do it fast, you can't do it. What? Just a little bug here when I call up my waveform generator, and I've got this side menu on here. It doesn't like collapse that, so yeah. Oops, look at that. Anyway, the side menu here, we do have file, control, setup, sources, trigger, measure, analyze, utilities, all sorts of things. So IO, File Explorer, Fault Hunter, that is a new feature I want to try out. Measure, you got quick measures, you got limit tests, you got DVM counter, yeah, all the usual goodness. And then zone triggering, conditioning, trigger levels, force trigger, send email on trigger. Oh, nice. Oh, what's quick selection sources? Channel 1, it's okay, just jump to there. Fair enough, okay, they deemed that was warranted, I guess. Waveform gen, reference waveform, oh no, all these menus, they're overlapping. Anyway, our signal gen here, arbitrary, sine, square, ramp, pulse, DC, noise, sine, cardinal, exponential rise, yeah, okay. Modulation, AM and FM, that's it. No FSK, modulation. That has to be coming. Okay, let's see how the keyboard works here. If we go into, okay, I want 1 megahertz. Yep, no worries. But can we diddle? We can diddle our control here, and it does 3rd digit diddling. How's the velocity? Oh yeah, velocity control. Keysight always do velocity control very well. So, yep, nothing's changed here. Very nice, and then I can slow it down. Beautiful. So I've plugged in my USB stick, and nicely, they've got a save screen button there. That used to be called a quick action button, so I don't know if that's programmable or not, but anyway, let me press that, and will it save my screen? Yep, save successfully. Hard drive, no, when you plug in the USB stick, I want it to automatically select the USB stick. Please fix that in the next firmware release. No, look, it does have a quick action setup menu here. In fact, you can do like a quick email. I like that. Quick trigger mode, quick memory usage, displays memory usage. Like, nice. But where's the quick action button? I don't know. Oh, that was the quick action button. Now it's gone into, oh boy. Okay, and now I can save. Now I can choose where I want it to. No, now it's automatically selected, the USB 1. Okay, there's no quick action button here either. So what? So what, I have to go into setup and quick save? I don't like that. So yeah, if I set that up to email here, I can go like setup like this, and I can go quick email like that. Okay, so that's the quick menu. No, I would have liked to have that to have been the quick action menu, and then but it doesn't. I've checked that it only does the save screen. It doesn't do the quick action. And there's some really cool quick action functions here, which I'd really love to have on the panel, on the front panel. But if anything, please just move it like down here so that you don't have to go through into setup and then do that. It's just an extra click. Why? Now, as for the intensity graded display, this is interesting because it only has 16 levels of intensity grading. And this is actually less than the Keysight, which has 64 levels, I believe. So the standard 1 megahertz with 1 kilohertz modulation AM, 100% AM wave, and we can see the modulation in there. I really like the sharpness in there. You can really, hopefully that's focusing in 4K. Really like seeing, you can see the individual 1 megahertz stuff in there. But yeah, you can see it probably doesn't have as many levels as the 3000, but I don't know, do you actually need them? Let's go over to the 3000 here, and we can do the same thing. So you can see it is somewhat different. Like, we do get quite significant difference in, like, we can get like a almost black inside there. So it is a little bit different. So even though it's got supposedly less intensity graded levels, maybe they'll update that in the firmware later, but I actually like the look of this. It's sharper, it's more betterer. I think it's really quite nice, even though it only has 16 levels. Just looks beautiful to me. And if we connect to the Ethernet, sure enough, it does have a web server built in, but not as good as I expected. Well, I kind of like it. Like, we can go here, home and everything. And we can enable a front panel identifier, which is very nice if you've got, 20 of these things hooked up in your lab for some physics experiment or something. Then it's nice to be able to identify them. And then, unfortunately, to control the instrument, there's no web screen interface, so I can't just even like a $300 Rigol has like a web screen interface now. So anyway, I think that's a huge bummer. They should add that. But yeah, we can do instrument IO, and we can send Skippy commands and everything, and it does work. I've tested it. And the get image thing works. We can refresh the image like this. We can also save various stuff. We can recall stuff and instrument utilities. Here's all the the options. Looks like I've got a demo license. I'm out of luck in August 2026. Now, I was actually going to roast them over this, but I can actually do the remote web interface using a VNC viewer here. No problems, just type in the IP address. Bob's your uncle. And yeah, we can access the scope now, and we can have a play around with it. Really nice. There's the about screen for those playing along at home. But one thing I wanted to show you is if we go into utilities here and we go into user options, this is fairly responsive using the VNC, by the way. I've got no complaints whatsoever. It has this interesting thing called GUI scale factor, and I thought, can this actually scale the output to a larger screen? Because this screen is only 1280 by 800. It's not full HD, and I think that's a bit disappointing. I would have liked to have seen, especially on a largish 10.1 inch touchscreen like this, and especially with the 14-bit converter in there, would have liked to have seen a full HD 1920 by 1080 screen. But anyway, they don't have that, and I can't test the DisplayPort output because they're having a driver issue, a third-party driver issue at the moment, so that'll be fixed in an upcoming firmware release. I'll be able to use the output, but I'm pretty sure that it won't scale up to full HD because, once again, like the Megazoom 4 ASIC, the Megazoom 5 ASIC is designed around, because it does the display updating directly to the screen, it's designed around that screen resolution. It's fixed. It can't scale it. So it's not like it's using, an Android operating system and it can just magically scale it to anything it wants. It doesn't work like that when you've got a dedicated ASIC like this. So, pros and cons to the ASIC. But if I do scale GUI larger, it just seems to change like some of the font sizes. So if you have a look around the fonts and things, you'll notice that they get a little bit smaller, but there's no increase in resolution at all, unfortunately. And I didn't expect that. That's the limitation of the ASIC. Now, of course, we can actually scale this to full screen using the software here, but that's not the scope doing it. So you're not going to get any increased waveform resolution or any, to see your 14-bit data or anything like that. It's just the program that we're using just auto scale it. And if we actually go back to scale to 100%, we can see the true screen resolution here, which is the 1280 by 800. Yeah, it's not full HD, but that's the trade-off with the custom ASIC, unfortunately, and the speed you get. So you get what you get. You don't get upset. All right, so if we hit the measurement menu, this is what we get. All of them. Let's have a squeeze. I'll try and scroll it here. All the adjacent power ratio, nice. It's in alphabetical order. When you select all of them, of course, you can select a category. So all the requisite ones are there, by the looks of it. I'm not going to go through every single one right now, but I will note that jitter is missing. I was hoping it'd have cycle-to-cycle jitter, which I did a video on the other day on the second channel, but nope. That's the FFT analysis measurements and mixed stuff. Yeah, okay. Well, we might be able to do that jitter thing with the with histograms or something, maybe. By the way, my particular firmware release here does not have roll mode or XY mode. They are slated. They're already included in different firmware. It's just that they haven't actually released that yet. So, but all that's coming. So my unit here, unfortunately, is missing a few things, like even the DisplayPort doesn't work. Anyway, for our noise measurements, we want to add AC RMS, standard deviation here. So we add it over there, and that goes into active measurements. Cool, and that turns on. I like that interface. That's neat. I was going to say, it would have been nice if by default it didn't have all that wasted black area down there, but it looks like we can adjust that. No worries, would have been just nice if it just automatically did that for you. Switch on 50 ohms here and it just warns you. Tell you what I really like is these little like annotation measurement bubbles here, I guess you could call them. It would have been nice if they were a bit more see-through, but I really like just the format of those, and the surround, it just looks very professional and well thought out. Gives you the nice warm fuzzies. Now, my version of the firmware goes down to 500 microvolts per division, but I've heard that there is a 100 microvolt per division firmware update coming. Now, it doesn't have a true 500 microvolt front end because, well, we've got a 14-bit converter, okay? And you can tell this, I'm at 500 microvolts per division at the moment, and if I change that to 1 millivolt per division, you'll notice that the noise doesn't change at all because it's exactly the same front end. And if we go to 2 millivolts per division, it's still exactly the same. Nothing has changed at all. So it's a software magnified 2 millivolts per division, but that's just fine when you've got a 14-bit ADC. Well, you have to go to 5 millivolts per division, and we'll see that the RMS, the noise, has now jumped up to 61 microvolts there. So yeah, 2 millivolt front end. Now, one thing people are going to ask about this is, does it actually do analysis on just the screen data, or does it do on the full capture bandwidth? Well, haven't fully investigated that yet, but I did run into an issue here while I was doing the noise measurement and trying to capture some data like the full 1 meg point. So I've set up 1 meg points here at 3.2 gig samples a second here. But the problem is, when I actually stop that, I'm only getting the 32K of information that's on the screen. I'm not getting the full 1 meg points, which it's actually defined up here. So to do that, you should have to do the single shot capture over here. So presumably what that means, when you're actively running like this and say you're getting measurements like this, it's only doing the measurements on the screen data, which seems to be 32K points, because that, if I stop it and I save the data, then that's all the like actual binary data, that's all the data that gets saved, even though I've specifically manually set 1 meg points here. It just won't do that. It prioritizes faster updating, faster operation, and you only get that 1 meg points if you hit single shot mode. But having said that, even on the 3000 here, when I manually set the digitizer to 1 meg points and I do a single shot trigger and I save to USB stick, my file size is only 8 kilobytes or 7 kilobytes, as opposed to the 125 kilobyte file I get for this. And of course, it's not 8 bits per sample. So yeah, not even the 3000 does this. So I'm not sure if the HD is actually going to do this, even when I get the single shot capture on there. So presumably that's another bug or limitation in the firmware that I'll have to get Keysight to look at. This early version of firmware that I've got will not single shot capture on that noise. The trigger level is just not there. Look, I'm changing the trigger level there. I just cannot single shot capture on the noise. But if you try that over here on the old school one, then yeah, no worries. I can single shot capture on the noise there. They are fixing the trigger level issue in some upcoming firmware, but that's really annoying. For those who want to see it in comparison to its closest competitor, which is the Rohde & Schwarz MXO4, here you go. It's a significantly smaller footprint. So if you value your footprint, then, well, yeah, the Keysight's more better. But the MXO4 does have a full HD screen as opposed to a 1280 by 800 screen on this. But you've got a true 14-bit ADC as opposed to a 12-bit ADC over here. But the MXO4 will go to 18 bits in HD, which is basically average in mode, even though it's got a 12-bit ADC. But the HD3 will only go to 16 bits in HD mode, but it's got a true 14-bit ADC in it and half the noise floor. So that is the huge two selling points of this new HD3. The 14-bit ADC, like real genuine 14-bit ADC, because Keysight manufacture the best ADCs in the world, pretty much. They're like pioneers of like custom ADCs, so they know what they're doing. New 14-bit converter, but also half the noise on the input of its closest competitor, which is the MXO4. So let's try it out now. I'll put up the noise specs for the HD3 here, but it's basically 49 microvolts over the full 1 gig bandwidth on the 50 ohm input, and this is incredibly low noise. And is it half, as they claim, half the noise of the competition? Well, yes, it is. Yep, sure enough, we're talking 103 microvolts. They're both on 2 millivolts per division with 50 ohm input termination, 1 microsecond per division, 50 K points acquisition on the MXO and 50 K points on the Keysight over here. Increasing the memory size up to 1 meg, for example, doesn't change the noise at all. And on the MXO4, I can't change it. It's 50 kilopoints maximum. Now, I started these, I reset the statistics at the same time, and you can see that the Keysight's done 15, almost 16,000 updates, whereas the MXO4's only done 2.2 thousand. So yeah, the HD3 is way faster. That's your MegaZoom ASIC. Once again, same time base, same memory depth, everything with just measurements turned on. Yeah, the Keysight blows it away. But of course, the MXO4 is supposed to have 4.5 million waveform updates per second, and it does under specific circumstances. But yeah, the HD3 is, with its Megazoom V ASIC, is more betterer. In this particular case, it's over 7 times quicker at capturing that data. There's just, yeah, there's no contest. And the noise at 1 volt per division, it's supposed to be a spec of 7.2, and it's got 7.7 millivolts. It's neither here nor there. And the MXO4 is 17.6 millivolts there. RMS noise, of course. And the peak, you can see the peak to peak there is 150 as opposed to, what is it, 63 over here. So yeah, the HD3, the noise of this thing, how they got this new 14-bit converter at this low noise, I don't know. Some people who are very much in the know about Keysight ADC technology have speculated on the EEVblog forum that it might be a particular type. If I can find that post, I'll put it up here. But yeah, hopefully we can get a Keysight expert who actually designed this stuff, maybe on the Amp Hour or something, to talk about that sort of stuff. Yep, but as advertised, the HD3 blows the MXO4 out of the water in terms of noise and just update rate in this basic test here. I've yet to do a full, update rate comparison over every single time-based setting. Might not have time for this video, but yeah, it's as claimed. To show you that speed update difference again, I'm generating a clock pulse here, which has a little discrepancy once in every 1 million waveforms. So if this has 1.3 million waveform updates per second, then we should, in theory, see that every 1.3 seconds on this. And the Rode & Schwarz is supposed to have 4.5 million waveform updates per second, but you'll see, in this particular case, we don't get it. They're both on 6 K points here. In fact, the Keysight's a little bit more at 6.4 K points, 100 nanoseconds per division. We've got the same waveform, so I'll clear the display on both here. And unfortunately, I've got infinite persistence turned on here, so it might be a bit hard to see the Keysight here, because for some reason, even though I've got intensity, waveform intensity 100%, it's still showing me those other waveforms there. Anyway, what I've got is the frequency here on channel 2 is showing the trigger out. So this is how many times the Keysight is triggering per second, and we're at this particular time base and memory depth, we're getting 1.03, 1.04 million times per second. But the Rode & Schwarz over here, with exactly the same settings, we're only getting 408 K waveforms per second. That's still pretty quick, but nowhere near the advertised 4.5 million waveform updates per second, and less than half of the HD3, the Megazoom V ASIC here. Not quite getting the 1.3, but I'm sure at one point, at a sweet spot of the time base, we'd eventually get that. But here is a striking difference. Check this out. If I turn on simply measurements here, and I'm doing one AC RMS measurement, it's dropped from, what, 400,000 per second to 2.5 K waveforms per second. So if I clear that, it'll probably never show up. It'll, well, show up every, million waveforms or something. It's never going to capture that run signal. Whereas the HD3 over here, look, it's still 1 million waveform updates per second. Not only have I turned on the measurements over here as well with all the statistical stuff, but I've also turned on the histogram as well, so we're getting the histogram information, and it doesn't impact the update rate at all. And that's what the MegaZoom ASIC does. And MegaZoom 4 did this, and sure enough, the MegaZoom 5 does this as well. So you can turn on all those measurements, doesn't slow it down. So a simple measurement like that, 1 million waveform updates per second, 2.5K waveform updates per second. It's just no contest at all. But I know what you're saying, Dave, turn on the FFT and watch it drop. Well, okay, I'll turn on the FFT. It ain't dropping. I'll clear that display again. And so we've got FFT, see, you can see it capturing there. And we've got the statistics, histograms, and FFT all on at once. And it's still 1 million waveform updates per second. Amazing. If we do the same thing on the MXO4 with its 4.5 million waveform updates per second, try 280 waveforms per second. Not K, but waveforms per second with the FFT on and some measurements. So, yeah, no contest. ASIC for the win. But one thing I was showing you in previous videos on the MXO4, which I really like, which the HD3 doesn't have, is that not only can you change on each channel, you can change the individual bandwidth limit, of course, but also in the probe, if you go into probe, you can actually like dial in your own probe bandwidth, which is really good. So you can take that all the way with LBJ. Look, you can take it down into the kilohertz region here. It's absolutely fantastic. And you can do that at basically front-end filtering, whereas the HD3 doesn't have anything like that. In fact, the only bandwidth limit it has, and I have no idea why Keysight have gone for this, only bandwidth limit it has is the 40 megahertz bandwidth limit. And what the heck? Why that's not the industry standard 20 megahertz that's been there forever is beyond me. Why change it to 40 megahertz? You use 20 meg for like power supply noise measurement bandwidths. It's an industry standard thing. Why is it 40 megahertz? Crazy, but you can't select anything else. If you want to change the bandwidth to anything else, you've got to go over into acquire here, and then you've got a global bandwidth limit. So, yeah, I don't get it. Global bandwidth across all channels? Why? Are you telling me I can't have different bandwidths on different channels? This just seems nuts. Once again, it could be an early firmware thing and they plan to add that later, but nah, I don't like that. No, I way prefer the MXO4 and its like individual software filtering on each channel. It's just fantastic. And of course you can see that it only goes up to 16-bit HD mode, whereas the MXO4, as I said, will go up to 18 bits, but it's only a 12-bit converter, whereas this is 14-bit true converter. This is not HD mode, it's a true 14-bit ADC. Okay, to show you the difference in the 14-bit ADC makes in this thing, I'm generating a 50 megahertz signal here. I'm at 2 millivolts per division, and my signal is 15 microvolts going through a 12 dB attenuator down here. And you can see the signal poking out of the noise floor there, right? Very nice. And, you know, it's down like 109 dB, minus 110 dB like noise floor down there, but you can see it poking out. Now, if I plug the same thing into the Roden Schwartz over here, which is a 12-bit ADC, I've plugged it in. Trust me, it's exactly the same signal. Maybe you can only see it because you know it's there, but yeah, so that's the difference between a 12-bit ADC and the 14-bit ADC over here. So whack it in over here and boom, it pops out of the noise there. Very nice. And check this out, I really like this. If I dock this down the bottom here, it just docks down here, and then we can adjust that, like how big that is. But look, we got tab mode and we've got list mode as well. So with list mode here, look, we can actually just like scroll across and see all this different stuff. That's really quite neat. I like that. And what does full do? Haven't tried it. Whoa. What do you want to show full screen? Waveforms or results? I want results, please. there you go. We can got rid of all the waveforms and we show that full screen, and yeah, we can exit that. Or if we just want to temporarily show waveforms, we can do that. Neat. And the great thing about that is it gets rid of everything. You're using every pixel on the screen. Beautiful. All right, let's try out the zone triggering. Fortunately, this has lots of nice little demo waveforms built in, which come out of the probe compensation pin down the bottom here. But yeah, so this is generating a non-monotonic signal here, and normally, you know, it might be hard to capture on that. But so if we want to capture on this little dip here, so we can zoom out and see what's happening there, okay? But let's say we wanted to actually trigger on that, okay? I haven't tried this yet, so this is a first for me. So we draw our little window, and then we can add zone trigger must intersect this window, okay? Let's must intersect this window, and boom, there it is. Look at that. First time I've used it, works beautifully. So you can see it there. There's our little trigger window, and so of course we can single shot capture that as well. Nice. And Rohde & Schwarz have finally added zone triggering after like a year after release. They added it to the firmware just like a little while ago. Haven't tried, I literally have not tried this yet. So let's try it. Add zone trigger. Okay, add zone. You can't just easily just draw it on there. You've got to actually select zone trigger. Must intersect. There we go. Add zone, draw an area. Whoa, there we go. There we go. Nice. Yeah, that works just as well. So, yep, happy with that. Both of them work a treat on the zone trigger. And as for serial bus triggering, good news and bad news. Good news is that once again, the Megazoom V ASIC, just like the Megazoom 4, will do all that serial decoding in the ASIC, so it doesn't upset the waveform update rate at all when you're doing serial decoding. But the bad news is that it's optional extra. You pay optional extra for this. That's the weird thing about this in terms of options. They'll give you the MSO, the mixed signal digital inputs. They're actually provided in the base level price of this thing. But serial decoding is not. And they'll give you other advanced stuff like the zone triggering, which I think was optional before. That's now included. And, you know, other advanced stuff like their new Fault Hunter feature we'll look at in a minute. But basic serial decoding is extra. Why? Anyway, got a demo signal with a CAN bus here, and it's actually decoding that in real time. So we can go to full on the results if we want, like that, and we should get the, we'll get the table, and yeah, there it is. It's all, it's all updating. So no doubt the other serial decoders work. Sorry, I'm not going to try them in this video. I don't have time. One of the big new features of this scope is something called Fault Hunter, and this allows you to catch glitches and everything like this over time. So if you've got an elusive fault that you're trying to troubleshoot, you can set this thing up, and it's kind of like auto routing. Like, you know, you got to put a lot of work into setting this thing up, but then you can leave your scope just there and it'll actually do this. And it's running through, I don't know, this is the demo for it. It's a real signal that's actually being outputted on the scope and going into the input, but they've provided the internal demo here. So it looks like it's past positive glitch, past negative glitches, so the mean, standard deviation, and the acceptable range here. So what you can do is test for all these different tests here, runt pulses, positive and negative, slow rising edges if they're, you know, if your slew rate's changing or something like that, or positive and negative glitches. You can set up the acceptable range, like greater than or less than or whatever it is, for each one of these, and then you can just run it for however long you want to run, like run for a few minutes, duration, run for an hour, run for 8 hours, run for 2 days. Oh, looks like you can't put a custom time. Still, that's going to be very handy. Many times I've had to try and set up like weird triggers and stuff for like elusive faults that I'm trying to capture. Some of them I've set up for like trying to capture these for weeks, and I still couldn't get it. And interestingly, then you can copy over that to the trigger signal as well. So it'll set up like it'll do like slow falling edge, and you can copy that to the trigger. I wonder if I can go copy to trigger now, and boom, it looks like it's going to, has it found that? It looks like has it found the slow edge there, I think. Sorry, first time using this demo, haven't quite figured it out, but that's pretty groovy. So you can access the Fault Hunter just in the main menu here, so you can call that up, no problems. But it just seems to be these 6 particular functions. There doesn't appear to be any way to add extra functions, but they might add more in the future. I don't know. If you want to suggest some elusive fault is coming in from like a different thing. Maybe they can add it to the fault hunter later, but yeah, that's something groovy that no other scope has. So what I've done is I've actually inputted my own signal now, and I've run the auto setup here, and it's going and doing all sorts of stuff and actually trying to figure out and populate the values for me, and it's starting and stopping it, and it's doing single shot capture, and it's doing, see, it's just jumping over, doing all sorts of things. So it's, of course, it's going to pass everything because this is like my reference waveform that I'm actually programming in, and then you can, once you've got that reference waveform, because you're trying to find an elusive fault in usually a stable, you know, some sort of stable clock, for example, and the clock might be doing something weird just once every blue moon, and you want to capture that, then you put in the known reference waveform and you set it up, and then you can just tweak the values in there, and if it gets outside of those ranges, then you know your signal's Kamagata, and you can capture that. So there's my signal there. It's just a pulse signal which I'm putting in, and so we can run all the tests, and it's set up all these acceptable ranges for us based on the reference signal. So we can just go run all tests, and presumably it's going to pass because there's no anomaly in this signal. But if there was, we could run this for days, up to 2 days maximum, and we could capture it. Neat. I think you'll find the other manufacturers might quickly copy this feature. They probably won't call it Fault Hunter because that's probably trademark, so it'll be Glitch Hunter. Anomaly Hunter? Oh, and I've just noticed that we've got 51 notifications up here now. Oh, I can't, no, it's going to lock us out while it's doing that. That's all right. Fully expect that. So anyway, yeah, you can see like the waveform vanishing while it's testing for all these things, which is really neat. Wow. All right, now can we look at our notifications here? There you go, the control is limit, the USB device removed. Okay, so it's tracking me. It's tracking me. And it comes standard with the N2843A 500 meg times 10 passive probe here with all the requisite accessories. There's the derating curve, but they also included, check this out, oh, they do a 1 gig passive probe now. If you have to ask the price, you probably can't afford these. These come in different versions as well. You can get a 1200 volt RMS 800 meg jobby, or you can get a MMCX interface one, but 4 puff at 1 gig. Unbelievable. Oh, look at that. That's sex on a stick. Look, it just screws in. Oh, thing of beauty. A joy forever. 1 gig passive bandwidth, 4 puff input capacitance. When I was a boy, you could only dream about something like that. Ugh. So I think that's enough for this video. Sorry I can't do more. I've literally had this scope for less than 24 hours. Like taking it out of the box and playing with it and recording all this video and getting the video edited. So yeah, there's only so much I can do in this time. Now, as it's during the recording of this, I was talking to Keysight. They actually gave me a list of the next 5 firmware releases. So they have like a rolling schedule for all these firmware releases, and I know what's coming in each one of the next 5 firmware releases. So, you know, they're going to fix the monitor output, and they're going to fix the trigger level stuff, and they're going to add all sorts of various features in the upcoming firmware releases. So some things I wasn't able to showcase in this, but anyway, it's got so much stuff in it that like, I could do another like 3 1-hour review videos and probably still not cover anything. But anyway, it's the best I can do in 24 hours. So I hope you found that useful. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up. And as always, discuss down below and on the EEVblog forum, which is, of course, Test Equipment Central on the internet, where all the nerds have been discussing this since the very first rumor. So I've been waiting 13 years for the MegaZoom V ASIC, and I don't even get a MegaZoom logo or a MegaZoom splash screen on this thing. Unbelievable. Please give me some MegaZoom joy. Anyway, we'll have some MegaZoom joy when we do a teardown video of this thing, which is still to come. So thank you very much, Keysight, for getting me this just in the nick of time. In fact, when I started editing this, I think it had just been released, or the info had just been released. Not sure if you can actually buy it in the store yet. Price-wise, I don't have all the price breakdowns and everything, but it is a bit more, I think 20% or something, don't quote me, more than the Keysight 3000 X series, which is still available, by the way. So, I don't know, get some good discount deals on that now that this new bad boy is available. Now, they call it the HD3, but in other documentation, they call it the HD300, and sure enough, it's the 304, and as I said, it's available in the 2-channel version and everything. But yeah, I do actually like the look and the form factor. There's some things in the user interface which I'm not that happy with, but other things I really love in this thing. But that's the same with any scope, and there's a couple of little issues which I found, and a couple of features which are coming in updates. But yes, once again, it looks like Keysight have jumped everyone else in the industry and set the new standard. It's not 12 bits anymore. We just started getting 12-bit scopes, really, in the scheme of things, and now it's 14 bits. But Keysight might be the only one that can actually do that for a while, because they designed and rolled their own ADC in-house. They're masters at that sort of stuff. So I'm not sure when you'll see a 14-bit scope from the other manufacturers, but maybe this Fault Hunter thing, you might see features like that come over and stuff. And the low noise floor, maybe no one can match that for quite some time. I don't know. But yeah, it's significantly ahead of the competition. Megazoom V ASIC in here wasn't quite as a leap forward as I thought. 1.3 million waveform updates instead of 1 million with the previous one, and I need to do more extensive testing for that. By the way, if you want me to do any more, like test a particular feature, then I can do that as like a quick second channel video. I can just throw that up. So leave it in the comments or over on the EEVblog forum or something, and I can do individual tests, but done the best I can in 24 hours. But anyway, we finally got the Megazoom V ASIC that I've been hoping for the last 13 years. But the Megazoom V ASIC, you've got to remember, they probably were like working on this like 5 years ago or something like that. I don't know the timeline. That'd just be my guess that they were working on that. So at the time, they guess, oh, we didn't go for full HD screen. We went, 1280 by 800 will be plenty. And we'll up it from 1 million waveforms to 1.3 million waveforms. But of course, the memory's completely changed. This is 100 meg points memory, but that doesn't halve at all. You've got 100 meg points on every single channel, which is really nice. But that's only, but you've got to pay extra for that. There are memory, the base model unit is 20 meg points. I don't know why. Just give everyone the 100 meg points. I mean, come on. Seriously? Oh, I don't get it. And the bloody serial protocol. Seriously? Anyway, this is a real kick-ass bit of kit. And yes, the 14-bit converter and the low noise front end is absolutely amazing and currently untouched. If you know of anything else that can even come close, leave in the comments, but I don't think there is. Keysight innovating yet again, and I fully expect, of course, this Megazoom V ASIC will flow down to the like smaller level scopes as well. But I haven't heard anything about that. But eventually in a year, a couple of years, maybe you might see a HD2 series or a HD1 series or something like that. Not sure if they'll use the new ADC, the 14-bit ADC, but Megazoom V ASIC they could certainly use. I don't know what these ASICs are costing them in volume, but anyway, they're worth every cent because they're really amazing. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, the best way to support me is, well, like and subscribe down below, but the best way is to visit EEVblog.store down below and, yeah, buy one of my meters or something, because that helps the channel. Catch you next time.